Hi, welcome to this video on the dated if function. Now the dated if function is an undocumented function in Microsoft Excel. It's actually an old function that has been there from the old spreadsheet, and Microsoft has carried it all along but without documenting it in the function library. So if you go to the function library, you will not see this function. And so even if you have to key in the function like we always do, you will not see the syntax illustration like you do in other functions. So I'm going to explain the steps so that you can understand how to use this function. Now the dated if function is used to calculate the timing difference between two dates in years, months, and days. Now the logic syntax is simply equal to dated if, which we have here. You open a bracket, you take the start date SD, take a comma, take the end date, and we have here T. Now T is the timing that you're looking for. If you're looking for years, the difference in years, you pick Y, so your T will be Y. If you're looking for the difference in month, you pick M. If you're looking for the difference in days, you pick D. Now we have YM, which means the number of months after the last complete year. So you have some differences being 5 years, 3 months, and stuff like that. Now if you come to where you need to get the number of days after each complete month, you use MD, while you use YD for number of completed days after the last complete year. Now let's look at this indices and used to do our illustration. Now we have values here. Now assuming I want to know the number of years between these two, I'm going to apply Y. So I'll take here and say equal to dated if. Now, like I said, you will not see the logic syntax prop up anything. So you manually open up a bracket, take your start date, take a comma, take your end date. Now, when you take your comma, you now begin to look at this indices here. Now, I want years, so I'm going to take Y and I put that in quote and I hit my enter key. Now, I'm told that what am I getting there? Is that 0? No, that shouldn't be. 2012. Okay, 0 years, which means it's not up to a year. Let me copy this down to this one. This is 6 years, and this is 7 years. So the first one is certainly less than a year. So let's see how many months are there. So I'm going to say equal to dated if. So I take this, and I take a comma, take this, I take a comma. Now let me take the number of months. So I'm going to use M here now, and I close bracket and enter. So you find that this is 9 months, 0 years, 9 months. Now if I want to see, this certainly will not be exactly 6 years. There could be some months after 6 years. So how do I know how many months are there? So I can come here and say equal to dated if. I open a bracket, come to my start date, take a comma, come to my end date, take a comma. Now what am I looking for? I'm looking for the month after the complete year. So I'm going to say YM and I hit my enter key. So here, this 2 days is 6 years and 2 months. Now if you want to know the number of days that last after each year, you take the YD. Now let's look at our illustration for more practical detail. Now let me take out this way. Now let's look at our illustration. It says on May 28, 2019, Drylin Company Limited disengaged 40 of its staff members. You have been given the details of the disengaged staff and required to calculate their length of service in months and years. Cool. So now we have 40 staff here. I'm sure this is 40 here. And we have their employment date and the date they were disengaged. These people were all disengaged the same day, but they joined the company this different days. So we want to know the number of years they have stayed. So the first thing I'm going to say is equal to dated if, and I open a bracket. I'm going to take the start date, which is their year of employment. I take a comma. I take their disengagement date. I take a comma, and of course I'm looking for the number of years. So I'm going to take this. Now this guy has worked for 6 years. So all I need to do is to drag this one down to the 40th person, and I copy down. So I have this. Now, how many months? Certainly is not a round figure. So I'm going to know how many months they worked beyond the complete year. So I'm going to say equal to dated if. I open a bracket, I come here, the start date, I take a comma, come to the end date, I take a comma. This time I'm talking of months after the complete year. So I'm going to say the months after the complete year. And that's all I need to do. So I have the 10 months. So I can copy this down. Let me take out the fractional side. There are no fractions, of course. Now, this person has 6 years, 10 months. This person has 11 years, 3 months. So I can just add these ones together using the concatenate function or simple ampersand by saying equal to this one, which is the 6 years, and let me say, let's put years. This will be years, which is going to be 6 years, and let me take a space there, and this one, which is 10, and let me take months. I think this should work. So I've just concatenated that. Let me hit my enter key. So this is 6 years, 10 months. So all I need to do is just to drag down and see this is their length of service. So I have here length of service, length of service. Now I can see this first person is 6 years, 10 months, 7 years down. This is what we are required to do. I have just a simple ampersand function, and using the dated if, I've been able to isolate the length of full years worked. Using the dated if also, I've been able to isolate the length of months after each complete year to give me the complete years and months that they have worked. Thank you very much for listening, and this is how the dated if function, which is a powerful function but undocumented in Microsoft Excel later versions, is used. Bye bye.